when it comes towards legacy planning, you have to get out of the tradition of thinking about success. You write the definition for success, your own success. Because if you don't, you're going around comparing other people.
Hi, this is Dr. Taz. Welcome to this edition of Talk with Taz. Today, I'm going to have a conversation with Dr. Jonica Rowland. Jonica is a visionary businesswoman, and she has a twist on how we can become financially stable and how we can leave a legacy for our families. And so I have been chatting with her offline, and I thought this is a conversation that I want to share with my audience. Because as we look at legacy, legacy means so many different things. And sometimes we only think about it from one perspective. And as human beings, we always need to think about legacy. Sometimes it's financial. Sometimes it's the lessons that we teach the next generation that then propels that generation to do things that we were not able to achieve. Well, there she is.
Yes, I am. Hello, hello, hello.
How are you doing today?
I'm doing well, and I hope you are.
I am. I said, IG's been a little something, a couple of my guests, but I said, Jonica is a pro. She's a person that will have 3 or 4 devices going simultaneously. So I know she knows how to work IG. And luckily, everything has worked out. Well, Jonica, we're going to go ahead and get started. Again, welcome to you to Talk with Taz. And to our audience, this is Dr. Jonica Rowland. She's a visionary business and financial consultant, a certified credit expert, and an inspiring keynote speaker. She has over 15 years of experience. She empowers leaders to thrive through impactful strategies that benefit businesses and their communities. She is the founder of J.T. Rowland Wholesome Health and Wellness. She's a trusted guide in achieving financial freedom and creating social change. So, welcome, Dr. Jonica. How are you doing today?
I am doing well. I've been trying to let America know that we are going live, and I'm excited.
Okay.
I'm doing well.
Okay. Now, Jonica, I am. You just a little soft, so make sure your volume is up because I'm not hearing you that clearly.
Can I hear me clearly? How about?
Yeah, you're better now. You're better now. Mm-hmm.
I'm better now.
Mm-hmm.
I'll lean forward.
Okay.
Lean.
Yeah, lean forward because I don't want to miss anything that you're saying. Okay.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm. Oh, I want to just jump right in. You said that believe in God and in yourself, even when no one else will. That you have to believe in God and believe in yourself, even when no one else does believe. Can you share a pivotal moment in your life when this belief carried you through a significant change?
Yes, I had trauma throughout my life, and it's external. It wasn't inward, but the outward external forces can create problems on the inside.
Yes.
So I knew from there that I had to learn to build my faith. I was grateful to have a Christian grandmother who really had faith, and from there I built upon my faith. I only had 1 or 2 friends growing up as a child, and then of course a host of associates and whatnot. And I would escape in books and music, and that would help to build my confidence. However, later in life, life happens. It happens. Look at who we are. So it's going to happen, and we share our way along this journey to learn how to take a stand, and as people do when they go through boot camp, combat forces. So I would do that by reading, praying, and surrounding myself not just around people I can help, but people who could be in my circle, because the word of God says the multitude of counselors, there's safety in.
Absolutely.
So back in 2018, I lost my father and brother 60 days apart. And then prior to that, my grandmother died when I was carrying my first child. And then my mother was murdered when I was 10. So I was a big sister to my brother, who was 7. So we were 3 to 4 years apart. So from there, when this last incident happened, life event, we call them life events. When the last life event happened, I had been exercising, taking care of myself, working on my doctorate, and then all of a sudden I'm plunged out in New York City or California with no family around. You know, normally when you
Yeah.
travel and you have friends with you, unless you're doing business. But I had to um, view view dead bodies and whatnot to identify them. Um, and then I had to fly on planes alone, be on subways alone, on the city buses alone. And so from there, I just didn't have people who could understand because not everyone can understand. They can imagine, but you
Mhm.
can't understand. However, with God, I knew He understand. So from that point, I was on. I knew that I had to make this because I'm just not counting on myself,
Mm.
but I know I have a God-given mission I need to fulfill. So a lot of people waiting on, I guess, waiting on me to crack. They're either waiting on you to crack, have a mental breakdown, or think you're just supposed to snap back.
Mhm.
So in that area, you have to have some type of balance because you will not always just snap back.
Mhm.
There, I realized that, hi, it's time for me. If I don't believe in myself, no one else will.
And
And so
now, I'm sorry.
I believe in myself to move forward.
Mhm. Now, Jonica, in the Pathos article that I wrote, you talked about the profound loss of your father. And I may have a typo in there because you said father and dad. And did you mean your father and brother?
Yes, father and brother, 60 days
Okay.
apart.
And
Yes.
and so you talked about that just now. And I told them as you were coming on that you have a different take on legacy and on financial freedom and inheritance and things of that nature. Given the losses that you have experienced, how did that help you to turn those challenges into a strength for guiding others through their trials?
I turned it in there. I had the counseling. I did counseling along the way, and then I took counseling classes as well. Okay. So from there, I had to lean back on what I was supposed to do to help others. And instead of having that mentality, I got mine, you get yours, it's like we need to help each other together. Help each other.
Mhm.
They use that phrase in it to win it. But how many people are in it to win it
Mhm.
together?
Together.
And the only way you can do that is to make sure you don't compromise your time and your values so that others can see that they don't have to compromise. If you need to take that pause to get it together, you have to do it. You have to
Mhm.
do it. There's a generation looking at us trying to see how we are going to handle grief in situations. Um, Last few months, we had some challenges in America,
Mhm.
right? So
Mhm.
generation really stood up for what they want because sometimes they didn't think they can rely on us.
Mhm.
And even with the jobs, when they had that great exit,
Yes.
people were just tired.
Mhm.
Tired
Mhm.
roar, as they would say. So
Mhm.
the legacy is making sure we pass down the principles and the wisdom that we've gained to help others. And not only that, we're letting people know that we aren't perfect. We can only control what we can control. And in that instance, relying on God lets us know that we can control us
Mhm.
instead of
Yes.
pointing at others, because
Mhm.
when you do it, coming back at you,
Absolutely.
and you always have someone say, if that was me, I would do this and that. And I'm like, if this was you, you wouldn't have done this and that.
Mhm.
You would,
Absolutely.
you were not judgmental, but you
Mhm.
would have been hitting the bottle, or you would have been smoking that stuff. But what
Mhm.
are we going to do to overcome these challenges without relying on substance. Did I answer your question?
It does. And, I think you also alluded a little bit. You made a statement about when you were traveling after the losses and you were alone. And, I was reminded there is a difference between being alone and being lonely. And we can be alone, but not be lonely. But that also means that examining what you were just alluding to yourself, because there are lots of times that people are alone and they're in a room full of people.
Yes.
But as you were talking about believing in God, even when no one else will or does, and even sometimes when our faith gets a little, it's like a flicker of a flame. Sometimes it flickers, but knowing that there is something greater that is in you, that is in the world, that then sustains you when you go through these trials and tribulations. And I always believe, and I don't welcome them, believe you me, but I believe that with every trial and every tribulation, there is something I must learn. And when I learn that, I am to then share that with somebody else so that they learn it. So hopefully they don't have to go through it the way I did, but if they go through it, maybe they won't be in it as long because they understand there is a reason for this. And you have to unlearn your lessons and go through the process as part of your journey.
Yes.
So,
We have to go through the process. I mean, you really hit home on that.
mhm, mhm,
Going through the process, because if we don't go through the process, life is a big test.
mhm,
And we know how it was in college. If you didn't pass a class, and by the way, I did have some medically removed because
mhm,
I was going through life.
absolutely.
Hit that counseling center because I had to deal with the grief, losing a
Yes,
mom through murder
yes,
and living life looking behind you. It's almost like looking
yes,
in the rearview
yes,
mirror. So I had to
yes,
overcome that.
yes.
So if you don't go through the process
Mhm,
in college, in high school, passing those tests, sometimes you
mhm,
have to, and I'm like, Lord, I
mhm,
don't want to retake this test.
mhm,
So help me through it. Some people
mhm.
say they're going through it. And I said, well, at least you're going through. Don't stop. Go through the process.
Exactly. Go through the process. And that makes me think about this legacy planning because I know that's an essential part of your work. Talk with the audience a little bit about legacy planning from your perspective, and then give them a little advice for someone who's just starting to think about it that doesn't really know how to do it or even really what it means.
Yeah, so when it comes towards legacy planning, you have to get out of the tradition of thinking about success. You write the definition for success,
Mm.
your own success. Because if you don't, you're going around comparing other people.
Yes.
Well, they did it and they didn't make it.
Mhm,
I can't do it. I got my
mhm,
comedy now. I'll bring that out one day.
mhm,
Who asked you? Okay.
mhm, mhm,
Unless you ask people for some advice, you may not be able to accept it all because legacy is about you and your God given vision.
mhm,
It's not always about
mhm.
a great invention. Okay. We have great leaders in our country. We don't know everyone who helped make them great
Yeah.
outside of maybe their parents.
Mhm,
But there's someone there who has helped someone to achieve or become greater. I want my
mhm,
children to have a better life and achieve more than I did. And so that's legacy. That's legacy. Making
mhm,
sure you thrive and not be all wrapped up into I want Johnny to do this and that. No. What are you doing? Let Johnny and Jill live their lives. Okay? That's legacy. Being the leader you're called to be.
mhm,
Praying for our leaders instead of cutting them down, no matter who's in office, you know. Um, Praying for our spouse instead of cutting them down in public. That's legacy.
mhm,
Look at the virgin woman. She didn't sit around and wait on her husband. She had handmaids. She created jobs. Okay.
mhm.
Merchant ship. She
Yes.
didn't wait around on her husband. And you don't have to be on the feminist move to do what you're called to do, whether you're a woman or a
Amen.
man.
Mhm,
We do. So, one of my sons, I think it was one of my sons, used to be like, "Oh, get out of your feelings,
Exactly. Exactly.
get out of
Exactly.
your feelings and trust God. Trust God.
Exactly.
That's legacy." Won an award the other night. You were there. I didn't have. I didn't even write a speech
Hmm.
because I was so
Exactly.
busy.
Yes.
But then I build upon what I've learned over the years, and I just trusted God. So that's
Hmm.
legacy.
Hmm.
Knowing your definition of success, you define who you are, okay, and not rely on other people to define you and get accolades and likes on social media and whatnot. Because at the end of the day, as a businesswoman or a career woman or someone in poverty, at the end of the day, you need the money,
Exactly.
not the accolades.
Exactly.
That's legacy.
Exactly. Exactly. Just going to level set. Thank you, Deirdre Lucas, for joining us, and thank you, Jimmy Thunder, for joining us also. You know, Dr. Jonica, I like the fact that legacy, the way you defined it, it's that vision. And you reiterated what I often tell people, you don't use someone else's barometer to measure your success. But what I really was hearing was if we have children, we're empowering them. It's about the leadership. So then I'm going to segue from there into how then does that mindset actually propel us towards financial freedom? How does that help us to gain that financial freedom? Because some people, I guess one misconception about it is, as you said, trying to achieve what others have achieved. And that may not be part of your vision, first of all, and then it may not be in your wheelhouse. So when it comes to this financial freedom, how do we educate families around that?
Okay? So, financial freedom. We don't have to be perfect, but there's some things we need to take control of. We've had near 9 job layoffs. Okay.
Mhm.
I experienced with businesses. To learn how to let some things go. Okay? Let it go. Let it go. We can't just jump after every shiny object. You want the house, but are you going to be renting and putting furniture on credit? Okay. Who
Mhm.
are you trying to please? Once you have that mindset on who you're trying to please, you can have freedom. You can have $1 in the bank and feel financially free. Okay?
Mhm.
Because
Mhm.
someone can make 100,000, 200,000 a year, but if we have 300,000 in debt, are they going to still feel free? Are they going to have that
Mhm.
mindset to say, "Hey, I'll just go find out how to make another 100,000 so I can clear up
Mhm.
debt"? Or are they going to sit back, keep kicking themselves? How in the world did I get into this?
Mhm.
Okay. So the
Mhm.
financial freedom starts in your mindset. I just have the freedom to believe that, hey, the Lord has given us all to have all the ability to have wealth. Okay. That's your greatest ability. Even they say that in the financial sector,
Mhm.
even at the disability month. Your
Mhm.
greatest achievement and ability is to be able to create wealth, not
Mhm.
just money, but to know what to do with the money.
Mhm.
If you lose money, how are you going to attain money? Is it a 9 to 5? Are you going to have a GoFundMe? Or are you going to take that dream and that vision to the next level and learn how to monetize it? Or are you going to say
Mhm.
no to some things that aren't towards your cause? Or are you going to just keep giving time away? So it's money and time, money and time. We know the time value of the dollar is going down. We know that we can't go back and get
Mhm.
time. But I do believe that health wise, we can reverse the hand of the clock. Because as we
Mhm.
get wisdom, we learn how to do things in a healthier
Mhm.
manner so that we can have health and that strength, not just say, I can't wait until I retire, but this is what I'm going to do when I retire, you know.
Mhm.
So
Mhm.
we still have to know that word power of no. And when we have the financial freedom, and as you said, the mindset, the God given mindset to know what to do with our time, we're going to have freedom. We're going to have freedom.
You know, Jonica, there's so many things I could say about that, but I want to move to a few other questions. But I do want to say this. I was in a conversation with someone just a couple of hours ago, and we were talking about the fact that it doesn't matter how much money you make, it's what you do with the money. But sometimes people get so caught up, well, I only make this amount of money, as if to say, give them a pass because they make a certain amount of money. And that certain amount of money, guys, could be $100,000, but I only make $100,000. But that's not the point. It's what you do with it. And that lines up with that growth mindset, also understanding the value. And it's not just, as you said, you got to create wealth, but how you create it is what you do with the money that comes in. So, yeah, I'm also reminded of the talents and the person that buried that one talent. Well, instead of making more money, more talent, which with money, guys, instead of growing that, he didn't do that. So that mindset that that person had in the Bible is not the mindset that you're telling us that we should be striving for. We should be striving for that growth mindset. And I think that is so very, very important. But let me say
Mm-hmm.
that again now.
The parable of the talents.
Yes, the parable of the talent.
And the one buried it in the ground.
Yes.
Okay. The three little pigs.
Mm-hmm.
But they built that solid foundation. Okay.
Exactly.
Don't get
And
me
that's
started.
and that's what we're talking about, that solid foundation. But you're right, it's not about the likes, it's not about the clicks. As my publicist is so, he says all the time, you can have, let me say it a different way, you can have 3 million people following you, but
Mm-hmm.
if they're not engaging with you, you just got 3 million people following you. He would say that's a vanity metric. You want people to be engaging because then you have a foundation. So let me back that up so people understand what Taz is saying. We're talking about building a foundation. She said the three little pigs. Well, I talked about the one talent. We're talking about building a foundation for legacy, empowering your family, empowering yourself, creating a mindset that is not just about, oh, me, but how do I build something that's long lasting? Well, that's setting that foundation. So having a foundation of 500 people that are engaging with you on social media, because we weave in different things now, guys, keep up with us now. With 500 people versus 3 million that are actually active and engaging with you, you got a solid foundation. You can have 3 million and they don't engage with you. You want to, your life should be about being able to move forward. And I guess that means also, and we're going to get off of this, but then maybe we won't. That also means not getting stuck in the past. Because if I'm stuck in the past, Dr. Jonica, can I build anything for the future if I'm in the past?
No, no, you can't. Because when you look at many of us who were in New York City, everyone might have a little touch of PTSD. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Then when you start seeing people get murdered or whatnot, it takes us up to another level. Okay. And if you can't get past that that image in your head, you just can't move forward. You're living in the past. And so, no matter what it is, whether it's a job layoff
Mm-hmm.
or discrimination, we can't let it build up because then there's a snowball effect. And what does the snowball does? Does it roll uphill
Mm-hmm.
or does the snowball roll down the hill?
Go down.
That snowball effect, you're going down.
You're going
And do
down.
you want to go down with the ship if a ship is sinking?
Yeah.
No, you're going to try to save yourself. So you save yourself because you're not only saving yourself for yourself, you're saving yourself for others. Now, I'm
Mm-hmm.
not saying you're going to help everyone, let everyone take advantage of you, but you have to write a vision. You have to know where you want to go. So when life hits you and you're struggling trying to get out of that pit that you either been forced into or you open the door for,
Mm-hmm.
you can go back to that vision. You can go back to what you told everyone else you're going to do.
Mm-hmm.
Hold yourself accountable. You just have to pull yourself out. You have to pull yourself out. You have to figure out a way you're going to do it. You're either going to pay for counseling or you're going to do some self-help.
Mm-hmm.
Help. You either going to fast, whether it's spiritually or intermittent.
Mm-hmm.
You're going to watch what you eat. You got to find your triggers. so that you can build that strength to overcome it. You know, to me, you have to become your native seal of your own life
Mm-hmm.
so get out of that pit to move forward. Because
Mm-hmm.
when you're going down, it's not just you, it's your loved ones and everyone else looking at you.
Mm-hmm.
Then also, there is the outside forces saying, I knew they weren't going to amount to nothing. Okay, so you got
Exactly.
that outside voice, you got that inner voice.
Mm-hmm.
But are you the voice of God bring you out?
Mm-hmm. Well, Jonica, you emphasized earlier the importance of saying no. And so I want to talk about that a little bit, saying no, ending projects, ending relationships, or what have you, because you really started talking about it just now too, things that are not progressing. Can you share maybe a professional example or maybe a personal example where this was especially difficult, but was necessary for you to do to say no in order to keep the legacy that you were building intact?
Yes. So as we know, there was the mandate for the electric cars. Okay, making sure the chargers and people game up
Hmm.
and invest in those type of businesses. Okay, and then you have some leadership who was going forward with it. Then you have some leadership that was falling back on it. And so I was like, ooh, this is really affecting my pocket and my time and my sleep because I need all the sleep I can get so that I
Yes.
can do my other projects. So I let it go. So then one or two of the leaders from that organization, they started moving on to other organizations and they try to bring me along. And I just sat back and I started thinking, well, it takes me 6 months to build up to really do something new. Let me just sit back and give people 6 months to a 12-month period to perfect everything. Because I'm not one who has to reinvent the wheel. I can improve the wheel, but I
Hmm.
don't have it. So from there, I'm just not taking on any new projects unless one wants to pay me as a consultant. Because I didn't get my doctorate in business just to um, give everything a trial run, okay? Or just to
Hmm.
try something
Hmm.
out. No, we're here. We're not perfect, but then we do have to have some type of mindset of perfection so that we won't keep going in circles like that hamster in the middle of the wheel. So I say no to new projects and new ventures unless someone wants to pay me to consult to help keep it going, because then I have my God given projects and ventures that I need to work on. And if you let them lie dormant, um, there's no steam behind it. So you have to pick your battles,
Hmm.
you have to pick projects, you have to say no professionally, and in some cases, I just come out and say, that's not my charity. God has given me my charities.
I like that. That's not my charity.
Yeah, my
I
charity
like that.
is not to help you for free, you know. And
Uh-huh.
don't know, I'm not bitter. I'm not bitter. Yes, I've been calling you for 5 years and you finally wake up, but I done moved on. Why haven't you called me back in 5 years? Now you want me to just drop everything? I'm human just like you.
Mm. Just like you. And I want you to talk a little bit about Lydia. I know in our Patheos article you referenced her and the fact her leadership and her business approach. How has studying her example challenged you to adopt new strategies or perspectives in balancing faith, learning, and success?
Yeah, so Lydia had a lot on the line. She sold purple, and purple was something big back then. Okay, it's almost like oil and gas now.
Uh-huh.
Or electric cars. And so from that, Lydia put her life on the line to become a follower of Christ, a
Hmm.
believer. What they first were called Christians in Acts, but how do you put it? Believing in Jesus,
Yes.
okay? During a time where there was no social media and you don't know whoever else was in the world believing it. But you did hear people losing lives
Yes.
in that move, right?
Hmm. Yes.
Put herself on the line, you know, no matter how many riches and furs and whatever you got, riches and wealth, how much
Hmm.
riches and wealth you have, people um, they may follow you if you decide to take that ownership and put some things on the line for value. That's
Mhm.
when I'm knowing your value. So she knew she had to make a change. Back then, it was anything goes, almost like now, and some stuff, even like now, is just inhumane.
Mhm.
You know,
Mhm.
Lydia kept her business going, and then she expressed her values, and not only that, she helped other followers of Christ.
Mhm.
Lydia could have just done her business and stayed uncovered.
Exactly. Dr. Jonica, I have enjoyed our conversation today. You have been dropping wisdom nuggets. I know that the audience is going to, as they listen and re-listen, they're going to be like, okay, because basically you have woven nuggets in multiple ways, really empowering us to to really examine how we view everything. And Lydia wraps it all up, actually. Because as you stated, she was a businesswoman. She's selling purple car, and that meant that she had to constantly adjust because she's a woman. And I said she was a businesswoman. She had to adjust to society and the customers and the political environment, social environment, economic environment that she was working and living in. And likewise, we have to do that. And that's what you talked about as it relates to legacy, financial freedom, having the ability to say no, understanding when you are alone versus when you are lonely, being willing to seek help, professional help. If you don't want to go and get professional help, buying books, things that can help you to improve where you are. And yeah, I'm just so thankful that you were able to come on and share all of this wisdom. Will you tell the audience how they can reach you? Because I know folks are going to have questions for you. How can they reach you?
Well, you can reach me here at Dr. Rowland underscore MBA. It may switch up some, but you'll always see Dr. Jonica because I'm grateful to have gained that. I'm your doctor who wants to get in your personal, professional business if
Mhm.
you let. And so reach me there or use my telephone number. It's 919-410-6386. I have my website, jonicarowland.com. And then my email is jonica@jonicarowland.com. So there's several ways to reach me.
Well, Dr. Jonica, I want to thank you again for coming on and sharing your wisdom today. I know that the audience will follow up with you because you've laid a foundation for us to really examine what legacy means. And I think that's where we are in our country and our world, trying to understand what legacy means and how we can build a better future for ourselves and then for our families, friends, and community. And that's what this world and living life is all about, how we can leave it better than what we found it. And I know folks are going to want you to help them to build that foundation, that solid foundation that we were talking about too.
And
So,
in all areas of our life, it would just help reduce a lot of stress, If
mhm.
you reduce it, then you can focus.
Well, again, you're so right in all areas of our life. I want to thank those who joined us today. And until next time, remember before you take care of anyone else, make sure you take care of yourself first. Bye now. Thank you. Thank you, Dr. Jonica. Bye
Thank
bye.
you.